How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And you know what time it is. It is time for the joke of the day. If you're new to this channel, we do this 5 days out of the week. Maybe you had a long, maybe you had a stressful day, or maybe it was the market conditions. Well, you came to watch this video, plus hear one of my corny jokes. Here it comes. How do rabbits travel? By hairplanes. You know, rabbit a hair. But anyways, what we're going to be talking about today is OCGN, which ended up having a big time green day. But we are not surprised about this. We've been talking about this for quite some time, saying, you know what, there's going to be a lot of anticipation. There's going to be a lot of FOMO for people wanting to be in this play. And we saw a piece of that for today. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support and we want to know resistance and some levels to look out for going into tomorrow. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. We want to know, are the shorts still heavily vested in this play? How many short shares are available? What is the short borrow fee rate? And also taking a look at the history of the short volume. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. Were institutions loading up on shares today? Were retail investors loading up on shares? We're going to find out all those numbers. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details that I want to share with you guys. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for OCGN. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $7.69, being up 8.77%. On the low, it tested $6.96, and then on the high, testing $7.75. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 13.713 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 12.29 million shares. So we ended up having above average volume on the day. That is something that is always great to see, but I was telling you guys that anticipation, that FOMO got us seeing some appreciation in the stock price today. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the 1 year daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is right around 57.15. And when we take a look at what's happening with our chart, we are above all of our major moving averages. And this is what we really wanted to see. As far as where we tested on the low today, we tested right at 696. I was saying I wanted to see the $7 area of support hold up, and we got exactly that. We ended up seeing a high of $7.75, and at the time of this recording, we're also at that particular number inside of the after hours. So knowing that this was an area of resistance at 775 going into the open tomorrow, you're going to want to see us either A, have a gap up, or if we do decide to pull back, I would love for us to use the 100-day as support right here around $7.50 so we can make that move, then going to $8. Know that $8 is going to be a psychological area for OCGN, but if we can pick up and have a lot of volume coming into the stock, then of course we can pass right through 8 and easily have some strong price action where we start getting into the 820s. And if we end up getting that decision tomorrow, then of course you guys know already, I would love to see us make a move going past $10. So now let's go into the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for OCGN. So we can see here for the dark pool short volume ratio at 54.30%, and then for the dark pool short volume being just over 2.8 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 10,000, updated 29 minutes ago, and the short borrow fee rate is at 2.88%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of last week Thursday, it was at 51.19, and then the close for October the 8th, which was on the Friday, was 54.30. So OCGN does continue to have short squeeze potential, and shorts are heavily vested in this play. It'll be very interesting to see what the numbers will be later on in the evening, but one thing we do know for for a fact, if we end up having this catalyst coming through, which is the EUL, we'll see some strong moves in price action. So now let's jump into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for OCGN. So we could see here on the inflow, it was 25.83, and then on the outflow, it was 19.01. So we ended up having an inflow day. So on the large, we had 3.21. On the medium, we had 15.51, and then on the small, we had 7.11. Also keep in mind, this is in the millions. When we take a look at the outflow side on the large, it was 0.48. On the medium, it was 12.21, and then on the small, it was 6.32. So you could see clearly inflows won in every single category. There was a lot of purchasing on the retail side, and we also had institutions who were loading up on large scale orders. And when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see that big looking green candle right there. We ended up having 2,734.86, which was for today. Again, I'm going to say it. This is not surprising. We have been talking about this. We know there's going to be a run-up due to the fact that WHO said they're going to have a decision for us this week. They said last week, sometime next week, this week. So I just want to make sure you guys are prepared. And also I know many of you are seeing, hey, I am green. It's great to see that. And reason why I say you got to have high conviction. If you were buying up shares while it was dipping last week, then you should be up right now. So I just want to make sure I'm being clear about that. And then of course you need to make sure you have the right risk management in place. But we talk about that all the time. But let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for OCGN, before I go on even further, here was a news update that popped up. We had WHO Vaccine Advisory Body Chair says it has made policy recommendations on the use of Bharat Biotech's COVID-19, but awaits WHO decision on regulatory issues in the next days. Of course, this type of news can bring in a lot of hype, a lot of FOMO. But again, the key part of this is we have to wait on a decision from WHO. We want the concrete details, not the details, the confirmation. We get that WHO approval, that EUL, and let's see where this stock decides to go. And I'm looking for it to go to the upside. When we went on Fintel, one thing we can clearly see, OCGN does continue to have short squeeze potential. There's a lot of negative market sentiment inside of this play, and it's part of the reasons if we end up getting that decision and there's a lot of buying volume coming into the stock, we could see some very strong moves in upside, and that's just something to be aware of. And also congratulations to those that were able to load up on the dip that we had last week. We had a lot of haters coming from left, right, and center saying, yeah, this stock is done. It is pulling back. Buy the rumor, sell the news, and so forth. And now look what it did on this Monday. And you know what's very interesting too? We saw the market was selling off towards the end of the day. I told you guys I'm always watching the SPY. SPY had a strong sell-off. OCGN was able to hold itself up very well. So one thing this does tell me, there's a lot of demand when it comes to OCGN. And as long as we see a continuation of that, we can see the stock moving in the right direction. And then plus, of course, one thing that was good to see, we held down the $7 range very well, testing a low of $6.96. And I was saying that $7 level is not a bad area to actually look at if you were considering to get into a position. So even if you were doing a short-term trade and so forth, you did have a setup right there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.